Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 26th of March 2019. So welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's afternoon session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, guys, let's quickly have a look at the charts and see what's happening right now. So the first one I want to touch on here is the Nasdaq100. Now looking at this one, of course today it closed, it opened already in the positive territory. It's trading well nicely above the yesterday's close. So it's currently, looking at this 4-hour chart, it's currently sitting just slightly above its R2 today, and near the this very important level of 7,400. So of course I'm gonna keep a close eye on that one, but what you should be looking at here is, of course, if this continues to travel higher, of course, then yes, I mean there are some good potential areas of resistance here above. If let's say today we see this one traveling further up here, keep a close eye on the R3, today's R3, which is around the 7,462 something, 63 area approximately there. But to be honest, for us to, let's say, to get more comfortable on this index from the let's say from the near term, at least from the near term perspective, we would like to see a nice good push above the Friday's highs, or Thursday's highs to be more precise, and which were around the 7,505 level. So, and only then, of course, we will target much higher areas, because this would confirm a forthcoming higher high. And then yep, the next area in line for us would be around the 7,600 and above that. But above that we do have a very good strong potential area of resistance here near the 7,691 level. And just to kind of mention that this was the all-time high of Nasdaq, so also keep your eyes on that one. But again, in order to consider these higher areas that I've just mentioned, we need to see a nice good pop above the 7,505 level, basically the highest point of last week. For now you can see that the index is struggling with the 7,400 level. If we see a nice good push above that, then yep, let's continue targeting higher areas, slightly higher areas, at least the R3, which is, as I mentioned before, around the 7,463 area approximately there. But if this fails to, let's say, to even to get back above the 7,400 level, now of course this could put us in a bit of a cautious position here, because we could see a slide lower here. Now also don't forget that if we zoom in here a little bit, we can see that we do have this nice gap here between the yesterday's close here and today's opening price. So in a way we could see this gap getting filled, but again we need to see a strong rejection from the 7,400 level first, and then we will aim for these lower levels. If we jump actually into a 1-hour chart on this one, you can see that yes, I mean at the moment, of course, the 1-hour candle is more on the positive side, but again it's not finished yet. Let's see how it's going to end, but we could potentially maybe see this one sliding back down if it struggles to move above the 7,400 level. So keep your eyes on this one, and if we do see a slide lower here, and if we start seeing this gap getting filled, then watch out for this level right here at around 7,340 level, approximately there. So it's near the highs here, near the intraday swing high of yesterday. So very good potential area here of support. Also coincides with the 50 EMA here on the 1 hour chart. So yep, slightly below the R1. So yep, very good potential area here. But again, let's see how the index is gonna play around the 7,400 level first. If it struggles to overcome it, then we might see just a bit of a slide lower here. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. Let me just jump back into the 4 hour chart, and let me just jump into the WTI. So the WTI crude oil. Now, a very interesting picture today. So of course, this morning it started off with a nice rally here to the upside, managed to reach its last week's highs near the 60.35 level, but you can see how well that level played its role as a good area of resistance from which the commodity now is kind of retracing back down. It's currently sitting near its R2, which is around the psychological 60 level. Let's see if it continues to travel further down. To be honest, for us now, in order to kind of consider higher areas, we would like to see a nice good push back above the 60.35 level. Now last time it was above that, was back here in November, in the beginning of November last year. So that's why, guys, we could then be targeting the next area of potential resistance near the 61.20 zone, approximately there. It also is not far from today's R3. So that's why, guys, for now, of course, even though it seems to be more positive than negative, but for better confirmation of the upside, we would like to see a nice good push above the 60.35 level first, and then we will target higher areas. For now, we can see that it's retracing slightly. We can even say that it's correcting. For us, let's say, to get more negative on this one, at least from the near-term perspective, we would like to see a nice good drop below the 59.40 level first. Of course, then this would raise concerns about the upside potential in the short run, and the next target for us could be this little area here near the 58.15 level, which you can see that played out very nicely as a good area of support yesterday, and also around the 18th of March as well. So that's why, guys, basically, if we see a nice good drop below the 59.40 level, then yep, we could see a further slide lower. We're not dragging this one lower further down yet, because if this, let's say, if this commodity travels below the 59.40 level and then hits the 58.15 zone that I was just talking about, so we may see maybe a small rebound or something like this, basically. So let me just adjust the arrow here. There we go. We might see maybe a small rebound here, because from the very short-term perspective, we could see maybe a small range forming here. Of course, don't get me wrong, this is too early to talk about that still, but something for you guys to keep an eye on and just keep in your heads. So that's why, guys, for now, keep your eyes on this. Keep your eyes on this little correction that we're seeing right now. You can see that it's already dropping below the R2. The next, if it continues to slide further down, of course, the target here is the R1 around the 59.52, something like that. But just slightly below that, we do have that level that I was talking about, the 59.40 zone. So keep your eyes on this one. And for the upside, I'll repeat myself, we need to see a nice good push above the 60.35 level first, and then we will target slightly higher areas. Jumping into another index here, which is the DXY, so the dollar index. So very nice, interesting picture that we've got here. So last week I was talking about this one, and basically we saw the index sliding lower, selling off sharply here, dropping below this tentative upside support line, and all of this was happening around Wednesday time, and then we saw by the end of the week, we saw the index traveling back above this upside support line and actually managing to reach this area here, this key area of resistance near the 96.80 level. So now basically looking at this picture overall, it's back above this short-term tentative upside support line. It continues to kind of support the the upside scenario, but again, for better confirmation, for just to get more comfortable with higher areas, we would like to see a nice good push above this key area of resistance near the 96.80 level. You can see that it also coincides here today with the R2, so very important area this one becomes. Let me just kind of drag this highlighted area and just kind of mark it for our future reference. So basically this is what we're going to be looking at in terms of the upside scenario. So a nice good pop above the 96.80 level could open the path towards higher areas like the 97 zone, or slightly above that, the 97.10, which is not far from today's R3, but I doubt that it could reach that today. So maybe something for the remaining of this week. So yep, keep your eyes on this. And in terms of the downside here, you could in a way keep your eyes on the 96.50 level. If we see a drop below this and then eventually drop below this upside support line, now this is where we could or should I say the bulls should start getting worried a little bit, because a further slide could be possible towards the 96.30 zone. You can see that it acted as a very good area of support here back on the 22nd of March, and also here on the 19th of March. So so you have very good potential area of support here, but again, only if we see a drop initially below the 96.50 and then of course a break of this tentative upside support line. So for now, continue observing your levels here, but we are more bullish than bearish on this one. But then again, for a better confirmation of the upside, we would like to see a nice good push above the 96.80 level first. Jumping into a few pairs now quickly. EURGBP, very interesting one here. So overall, you can see that this is what's happening here basically on EURGBP. It managed to travel higher, of course, last week. On Wednesday it pushed higher, but it managed to break this downside resistance line, but then quickly got back below it and closed the week below this downside resistance line again. So of course today it traveled a little bit higher, managed to test that line again, but failed to drive above it and sold off. So but found good support near the 0.8530 zone. So I have this level marked here from my previous analysis of EURGBP. So this level here continues to kind of play as an important support zone for us. Let's say now, in order to kind of consider further declines here, we would like to see a drop below the 0.8530 level first, and then we will target the next potential area here near the 0.8507 or even lower. But to be honest, this level here around the 0.8473 zone, that, to be honest, that's a more attractive level here. If we see, of course, a drop below the 0.8530, if we see that break here, then initially, of course, we will target the 0.8507 approximately there. But the more important one for us is going to be this 0.8473 zone. So because if you look here, even when we had these sharp falls, these sharp sell-offs, spikes to the downside, it's still this level here acted as a very strong area of support. Even on the second time here, when we had that sell-off on the sharp sell-off on the 13th of March, look how well this level played out, and it acted as a strong area of support. So that's why we're going to target that one again if we see a drop below the 0.8530 level, and then of course a drop below the 0.8507 approximately there. In terms of the upside, as you probably understood now, we need to see a nice good break of this downside resistance line first, and ideally we would like to see a nice good push above the 0.8594 level here, which marks here the highs of today, and it's not far from the highs of yesterday. So very interesting level this one is, like kind of a little obstacle here on the way to the upside. So basically nice good pop above this could open the path towards the 0.8620 zone, which previously acted as a good area of support here back on the 25th of January. So this time maybe could be seen as a little area of resistance, but the more important one for us will be this 200 EMA here. So that's why, guys, this 0.8620 level could be just a little obstacle on the way here, but the target for us will be this 200 EMA. And if we see a nice good push above that, of course there could be more chances for this pair to travel further up here. Again, I'll repeat myself, if we see a nice good push above the 200 EMA, and then we'll target these highs that we saw here last week. But for now, let's keep it short and simple. In terms of the upside, keep your eyes on this 0.85, 0.8594 area, approximately there. A nice good push above that could open the path towards higher areas. But for now, given the fact that it's still below this downside resistance line, to be honest, and also given the fact that it's below its pivot, there is more chance for this one to travel further down, and especially if it breaks below the 0.8530 level. So keep your eyes on that one. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on, and just basically this is a quick update. I was talking about this one this morning, and we're still trading within this little range here between the 109.70 on the downside and the 110.25 on the upside. So I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this one here, on a potential, if we see a break here above this upper side of this little range that the pair was stuck in, and you can see that how well this played out. So basically we had a nice pop here above the 110.25. It traveled higher, broke this 110.43 level that I was talking about, and managed to reach the 110.63 area as well. So but actually, of course, it hit slightly higher, the 69 zone. So for now, we're gonna keep a close eye on this one. Gonna keep a close eye on this 110.63. Of course, this is looking more positive than negative. The next target for us is still the 110.90 as mentioned this morning. So if we see a nice good push up towards this area, this is where it could become a little bit more interesting to see what the pair would like to do next. Because if this decides to get broken, the 110.90 gets broken, then yep, of course we could see this one traveling further up here towards the 111.15, or even back up here towards the highs that we saw here in mid-March. But for now, guys, let's make it short and simple. For now, of course, let's not forget that this could be a possible scenario as well, where we could maybe see a small correction to the downside. And if this continues to, if this remains above the 110.43 zone, approximately there, we could see the bulls jumping in here again, and then driving the pair towards the 110.90 level. If this pair decides to travel back down below the 110.25 zone, now this is where the bulls should kind of take a more cautious approach, because we could maybe see this one traveling further down here, especially if the pair breaks below the psychological 110 level. This would increase the chances for the for USDJPY to retest the 109.70. So that's why a drop back down below the 110.25 level could lead potentially back down towards the psychological 110, and if that fails to withhold, then yep, the 109.70 level could be back on the radar. Okay, guys, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me tomorrow morning in my Trader's Espresso, and that's 7 o'clock GMT time. But for now, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.